So 3D printing is basically taking string filament and actually turning it into 3D pieces. 3D printing is important in UAS because it gives us the opportunity to build new parts for our aircrafts cheaper, faster than if we were to just go ordering it directly from the manufacturer. We can use it to build frames, links, any part of the structure to our aircrafts. So here I have the 3D drone I printed myself. So we use it to build our frame, the arms. I picked out the legs I wanted to build. It's always exciting to be able to create new things through 3D printing. It's definitely very rewarding to see the actual pieces come out and be done and get to assemble it, and seeing that this went from being on a computer screen to an actual object now that I can hold. Definitely learned how to be able to make the machine, the 3D printer, more precise, more accurate, being able to fine tune it. What excites me about the UAS industry is, taking an uncrewed aircraft and being able to do all sorts of different things with it. Being able to work in the ag industry here in Kansas, also surveying, see where it takes me, see what kind of history gets made.